Shots ringing out over London today in honor of the 75th birthday of King Charles. The monarch visited a project that helps feed the hungry for his day. This is ABC News.
Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary. Attention all investors. The year is almost over and your chance to receive a 100% tax write-off for 2023. Why pay the government more of your hard-earned income while smart investors use proven strategies to reduce their payments to Uncle Sam? You can save thousands of dollars this year off of your taxable income with an investment in domestic energy, while at the same time generate potential income from oil for decades to come. Call Freedom Crude today at 800-549-1985. 800-549-1985.
I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Let's get ready for winter and the holidays with help from Airport Garden Center. So you made it through spring and summer with your mason bees, but now what to do during winter? Before the cold weather of winter sets in, join Airport Garden Center for their Mason Bee Winterizing class Saturday, November 18th. Get all the buzz with guest speaker Carrie Moreland from Knox Cellars Mason Bees on Saturday, November 18th. You'll learn all about how to winterize your bees. Purchase tickets now at airportgarden.biz. airportgarden.biz, where you can also get tickets now for an afternoon full of holiday cheer with the Wreaths and Wine Workshop, Saturday, December 10th. Get tickets now for the Mason Bee Winterizing class, November 18th, and Wreaths and Wine Workshop, December 10th at airportgarden.biz. Come enjoy a festive holiday season at Airport Garden Center, located west of Port Angeles on Edgewood Drive.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results, 457-6600. Washington State Department of Transportation crews making progress on building the new Elwha River Bridge west of Port Angeles. The effort requires stopping traffic for about 30 minutes at a time as they use cranes to hoist and position huge steel girders atop the new concrete supports there. Now, those temporary stoppages were set to occur between 3 and 5 a.m. this week. But we're hearing now that the traffic stoppages could go on until as late as 11 a.m. That's because those girders, which are being shipped from Tacoma, can only be moved at night, and some have not been arriving to the worksite until later in the morning.
Here's your Newsradio KONP forecast. A mix of clouds and sun this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 48. Northwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Scattered rain showers likely tonight. Lows level off around 36. Cloudy skies expected. Scattered rain showers again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 48. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 48 degrees.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
All right, welcome to the program. Going to spend the first part of the show today talking with Clallam 2 Fire Rescue Chief Jake Patterson. And yeah, the holidays are here, and that's also high fire danger time as well. And that's the topic today. We're going to get you all safe and sound through the winter holidays. Jake, good to see you again. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
And this is, I think, probably suffice to say, one of those times where firefighters and folks in the service say, hold their breaths a little bit, because this just a lot of accidents waiting to happen, I guess we might say.
Yeah, as we get into the winter season where people start using alternative heat sources, the chimney fires crop up, and then decorations, and we all like to decorate for the holidays, but they can be done safely, and there's try to do it as least hazard as possible.
Now, I would have to say, before we get too far along, I mean, decorations have gotten a lot better than maybe they used to be even 10, 15 years ago with LED lights and things like that, which are much cooler and that. So, but that still doesn't mean there aren't problems.
Yeah, I mean, the LED lights use a lot less power. You can string more of them together. You're not trying to jerry-rig long strings of Christmas lights and multiple extension cords. And over the course of the years, older Christmas lights, there's new regulations that come out, and even just like most things like furnishings and all that, clothing and all stuff like that, there's new regulations that make them less flammable. But usually when you interject natural Christmas trees, natural decorations, those things can tend to start out pretty well, but they can get hazardous as the season dries them out.
We're going to tick through some things here to be aware of, but you mentioned about alternative heat. People start firing up the wood stoves and things like that. That causes something. But then you combine that with, oh, hey, we're going to bring in some wreaths and trees and things that dry out. Yeah. That's when you get into a problem, right? Kind of a combination of things happening.
It is. It's the decorations that are more flammable. Then you're using, like as you mentioned, alternative heat sources and whatnot. And then space can be limited in homes, and that Christmas tree might be too close to the fireplace and sparks and stuff like that. So as you're trying to crowd friends, family, and Christmas trees into the house, it can be kind of tight space. And so we want to make sure people make sure that those safe distances are around your heaters, candles, trees, whatever.
Before we specifically get into holiday stuff, I got to ask you about this. Heating sources and things like curtains. I mean, that's something to be aware of this time of year, too, as people start, turning on baseboard heating, for example. They may not realize they might have a fire hazard just sitting there.
Yeah, you want to keep especially baseboards and stuff like that, you want to keep furniture away from them because it may not be hot to start a fire immediately, but the material can degrade, which makes it more prone to lighting. Point. So if that couch may be pressed against that heater all year long, but it's just going to be once that material breaks down enough and it can start a fire. So you got to be cautious of that. Blankets that are thrown off behind the couch that land on the space heater starts to collect the heat, and so we got to be
What's careful. A good rule of thumb for space for like a baseboard heater?
You need at least 6 inches gap between the baseboard heater and a couch or anything like that. Okay. A foot would be great, but you need at least 6 inches.
Which is, that's pretty significant, actually, when you think about it. People always love to get as much space as they can, so they shove things right up against the wall, and be cognizant there might be a heater back there that's going to get in the way. All right, let's get into some of the decoration stuff. We start with candles. Open flames, I mean, those are kind of the obvious ones that are a big issue this time of year. And I know we've talked in the past, you're not telling people don't burn candles. Just be safe about how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's every year it seems like there's more and more artificial candles that are more realistic and provide the same ambience, but of course you're not going to get the smells and the aromas of the ones you want to burn. So we understand that people are going to want to do that, but it can be done safely. But it is an open flame, and open flames tend to start bigger flames and bigger fires. So if not used correctly or used dangerously. So we want people to be very cautious around open candles, open flame.
I've shared this story before. When I was small, we had an Advent wreath. I mean, this just shows you how quickly something can go wrong. Big candles, no problem, but one candle just happened to fall. Just a little bit of it, and it got the whole thing on. Next thing you know, we're trying to get this thing out of the house and put out and all of this. There's melting carpet happening and all sorts of stuff. Fortunately, we were all there and watched it go down.
Yeah.
If we would have been in another room and that went down, next thing you know, our entire living room would have been on fire.
And that's one of the things if you have candles burning at any time, there needs to be somebody in the room around there. Right. You can monitor it quickly. Don't ever light candles and then leave the house or go to another section of the house and leave them unattended.
You provided some notes for me here. About a third of home decoration fires are started by candles. I mean, it's a significant amount. So I'm right in saying those are the culprits most of the time.
Yeah, then all the decorations around it, like you said, wreaths and stuff like that. And then during December, it kind of jumps up to about half the fires.
Yeah.
The decoration fires are caused by a candle.
Yep. So. Okay. Just think, way, way, way back before electricity, we hung candles on the tree.
Yep.
That was how we lit the tree.
Yeah.
And sometimes we lit the tree, I think is what happened in those days. All right. Let's talk about 12 inches away from anything that's burning. So that's, again, I guess a foot is a good rule of thumb for a lot of things we're going to talk about.
Yeah, you want to keep it away from any combustibles. And the 12 inches is kind of a good rule because not only will keep the flammable material around from the actual candle burning, but if the candle falls over or anything knocks it over, if you have, obviously don't leave kids unattended with open candles, but you can bump a table, things, a dog's tail can knock over a candle. I'm sure cats will do it intentionally, knock over the candles as well. But that kind of leaves that free space that if a candle does fall over, it doesn't just fall into some highly flammable decorations.
And I maybe suggest put something down that's a non-flammable base, if you will. If you have a candle, some sort of a setup, so at least you might have a way to kind of retard whatever might be burning if something catches.
Exactly. You can keep them contained like in a glass or something like that, so they don't. If they do fall over, they are inside of an area that's not going to burn and whatnot, or has a wide, stable base.
All right. And always just be there to enjoy your candles.
Yes.
When you light them, make sure you stay in the room and you have an eye on it. That's probably maybe the most important part of all of this conversation with candles.
Yep, and often remember that you lit a candle, and
how many times have you gone on a call where that's happened? Perhaps people have gone to bed, they didn't remember that their candle was burning out in the living room or wherever it might be.
We've been on several fires where you go over to where the origin of the fire started, and there's a big pile of wax where the candle had burnt down or had melted down, and so you got to be cautious of and remember when you lit the candles. So.
All right. They do make some nice artificial candles, by the way, that look pretty realistic.
They do.
And then you could just get a little scent stuff too if you wanted to. I'm just saying, you could make it work if you wanted to. All right, let's go to Christmas trees, because this is the time of year we go out and we bring in literally a tree, and it dries out for a month in our house usually, and that can be a lot of issues. So give us your advice on Christmas trees if we're going with a live tree.
Yeah, the first bit of fire chief advice is to use an artificial tree, but my personal, I love a real Christmas tree and the smells, and then going to collect it and bring it in the house. So I understand that, and I know people are going to do that. So, but the key to a real Christmas tree is to keep it well watered on a daily basis, because the longer a fire tree is without water and dries out, the more it increases the fire danger. And so any little fire can get a Christmas tree burning incredibly fast. So.
Now, this is a key one. Tell us about how many fires start because there's a heater too close to a tree. And this goes back to, I was talking about curtains and other things. Be aware of where your space heaters and such are.
About 1 in 5 tree fires are started by a heater too close. Mm-hmm. And I go back to the situation where you're trying to find a place for this Christmas tree, and it's pushed up against a little pick-a-watt heater in the house or something like that. It's colder. You want to have a little more heat in the room, so you bring in a portable heater, and it's just, if you get it too close to the Christmas tree, it can really increase the fire danger.
And if you're not watering the tree, those needles get dry real fast, and they go up.
Yeah,
quickly.
If anybody wants to see that on YouTube, just Google, or whatever, find Christmas tree fires. And the problem is that they have a low mass to high surface ratio, so they burn really incredibly fast. Mm-hmm. And usually when you get a room up to about 1,200 degrees, it starts to what we call flash over, when everything in the room reaches ignition temperature. If you have a good-sized Christmas tree and it lights off, that usually happens within about 45 to 60 seconds.
Wow, yeah.
And
that's amazing. Yeah, and as you pointed here, that's one of the things you want to talk about, is that realize those are the kinds of fires you may not have time to get out. They go so fast.
Yeah, I mean, even if you had a smoke alarm in the same room, you might get a little bit, when it first starts, a few beeps, but the heat will build up so quickly that it'll destroy the smoke alarm, and then the fire travels way too fast.
Yeah.
And you'll have little to no time to get out. So keep it watered. Never leave the lights plugged in on the tree. It's just, as a personal rule of mine, I unplug it from the wall. I don't even turn off the lights. I just unplug it from the walls, just so I know there's no power getting
to it at all.
Yep.
Yeah, don't even trust a switch or anything you might have on it. Just get it off it. People should see those videos, though. It's crazy. They're a torch. I mean, they really do turn into a torch.
Oh, they do. I mean, a dry fir Christmas tree will, not the 4th of July, but they go up like a Roman candle. I mean, they will immediately engulf the room in flames. And so
you mentioned that if your tree dries out, it gets to a point where all the water you put in it is not going to help. You need to get that tree out of the house, probably, right? So maybe you need to time your holidays and when the tree comes in.
Yeah, the longer you have that tree, so and that's why we advocate, if you can, fresh cut trees, because the longer that tree is cut down, the less ability it's going to have to absorb water, and anybody can. As soon as you put that Christmas tree in, you fill up the base with water. It's usually gone the next day, and you continue to fill it. And then you can see as you get closer to Christmas, it starts absorbing less water, and you're refilling it less. And so check the needles, make sure they're not dry. And if they're starting to dry out, you need to get it out of the house.
So if you're one of those people who likes a long Christmas season, you might want to think about multiple trees through your season. Get rid of one. Well, you could look at it as another chance to decorate. Yeah. Maybe a couple
get an
times.
Artificial tree.
Or get an artificial tree, yes. But there are people, I get it. Some people just don't. They want the real thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Non-flammable decorations. I bring that up, but people are actually putting things on their tree that can break. I'm thinking like, I guess that would be like paper type.
Yeah, I mean, you have the paper rings that, children make and all that stuff, and just be aware that those decorations can add to the flammability of the tree. So if you can treat your tree with sprays or anything like that to help reduce the chance of an ignition, but a lot of decorations are flammable, especially homemade ones, which are great to have them, but they just don't run through the rigorous testing and requirements sometimes.
Well, and all you have to do is get a hot bulb of some sort against one of those, and then you can start a fire.
Yeah, and as you pointed out earlier, the benefit of LED lights is less heat. Those old, I remember the old Christmas lights.
I remember the old, what are like the night lights, the big bulbs on there.
Yeah, where you'd touch them and they'd be hot to the touch, and
and that leads me to, let's go to holiday lights. Let's talk about that too, because there's some things to be aware of there. And we're all maybe a little guilty of this. You got the old bunch of lights, and that looks like it. That'll probably work, even though it may have a frayed piece to it or something like that. Toss them, though. Your suggestion is don't try to use that stuff.
Yeah, I seem to be the king of stapling right through the electrical cord, and you just need to get rid of those, because once you get bare wires exposed, again, they're not high voltage wires, but any kind of arc or spark or anything like that, they hit dried leaves, especially on the outside of the house or on your Christmas tree again. So if there's any kind of damage or fraying or missing or broken bulbs, just don't use the lights. They almost become disposable at that point, just to get rid of them. So.
And don't try to string a mile-long string of these lights. That can be a problem.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, with LED lights, they're great because they draw less power. But, the old incandescent and bulbs where if you got more than 3 strings, it kept popping a fuse, which can be infuriating and stuff, and which then generates a lot more of home inventions on how to bypass the safety fuses or whatnot. And so we don't want that to happen. If the fuse keeps blowing on you, it's doing that for a reason. So either check it out or discard the lights and start from scratch.
Right. In your history of in the fire service, how many times are electrical fires relatively common, or electrical issues maybe that you're called out on during the holiday season as well?
It doesn't seem to hit too much more on the holiday season. It's kind of a general maintenance. We just see more volume of extension cords and lights and stuff like that. But it's the same safe practices we advocate all the time. Just remember, if you put an extension cord through a door and you slam it in the door, it's going to damage that extension cord. And so don't drive over.
Get a new one. Yep. Right. People do this. I know they'll put their indoor lights outside because they're cool looking or something, or maybe but they don't realize that they're not interchangeable. They make outdoor lights, but they better be both. But they also make indoor only.
Exactly. And so we advocate, every time somebody goes to buy lights, ensure that if you're going to put them outdoors, they have the UL rating for an outdoor light, because they're more resistive to moisture and obviously rain and whatnot. And we don't want indoor lights out there. They have the ability to short out and whatnot. And same thing, if something keeps shorting out and tripping the breaker, the solution isn't to go back and just keep resetting the breaker. That's an indicator something's wrong. Right. And so either readjust your furnishings, or if you can't really find out a problem while your breakers are tripping, get an electrician in there. So.
And maybe it's because you have things plugged in where there's a lot of moisture around, which is a big issue. That's a no-no for a lot of things. We talk about fire, but then you have electrocution issues. One day you go out there and you plug something in and you're in the wrong spot, you can have a health problem on your hands.
Exactly. If you're running an extension cord out to the bushes in the yard, make sure that the connection points, you don't want it going through any kind of body of water where when it does rain or snow or melt or whatever, there's the electrical cord sitting at the bottom of the mud puddle.
Which is easy to do because when you run it, it may have been dry out. You didn't realize that you might have swales in your yard or something that might collect when we get a lot of rain.
Yep. In the same thing, if you have an extension cord or electrical or Christmas lights running along your gutters, make sure that the plug connections aren't inside the gutters, so that when the gutter fills up with water, that it, doesn't short those out.
Oh, but that's handy. Just put it in the gutter, and it's not out of the way. Yeah. We laugh now, but we don't. We're trying to keep us from laughing at what happens later. Tough as we kind of put a wrap on this whole thing, pun intended, wrapped up presents and things. is that we started by saying, that this is a time when those in fire service kind of go, oh, okay, we're going to get busy. Is that true? I mean, is it? I would think you add kitchen fires, you add, because people are doing more cooking, they're doing more creative things, I guess, in their kitchens and such. There's probably more that goes on as far as calls go, even beyond holiday lights.
Yeah, we do see a little uptick, and it's almost the different kinds of calls. I mean, we still see a lot more, if you want to call them, just general fire calls during the summer because it's wildland in nature, and this tends to be this season is the chimney fire season, the smoldering blanket season, occasionally electrical fire seasons, and so it does, those types of calls increase during this time period, but overall our call volume is still exponentially going up.
See any uptick in medical calls this time of year? People overindulge. Maybe there's more accidents. I don't know. Just curious.
We do. Sometimes we do see an uptick on the holidays themselves, just because more families in there. There's a whole bunch of social dynamics that get played into there, and sometimes we get called for various reasons. Hopefully, we have a slow Thanksgiving, slow Christmas, and New Year's, and all that stuff. But
well, I'm hoping we don't have a whole bunch to report after any of those holidays for you folks this year.
I hope so too, because this isn't the season that anybody wants to have to deal with that. So,
all right, get an artificial tree. I think that was probably the biggest advice we got from the chief today.
So from the fire chief side of me, an artificial tree, but the Pacific Northwest side of me says, I like our real trees. So.
Well, I appreciate that. That's being very transparent of you. Jake, it's always great to have you in. Thanks for stopping by, and hopefully that raised a little awareness to double check the lights, run the strings out, make sure there are no bare wires or weird things going on, and if something's gotten caught in a door between last season and this, just get a new strand and keep the tree watered. If it's coming in, you got to keep it good and moist.
Exactly.
All right, Jake. Happy holidays.
All right. Happy holidays to you.
All right. We'll talk to you in a few weeks. Jake Patterson, he is the fire chief for Clallam 2 Fire Rescue. We're going to take a break and get caught up on a couple of things, and then we'll be back in the next segment to talk with Brian King, Clallam County Sheriff. We'll talk about their new body camera program, as well as some legislative things that are looming right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
Hey Herbie, has the Kiwanis Club gone nuts?
Yes, we have. It's the Kiwanis Nuts fundraiser, on sale now for your holiday gift giving.
This is Kevin and Herbie from the Kiwanis Noon Club, inviting you to join us in Going Nuts.
These are the same great nut products you've come to love, offering both mixed nuts, including almonds, cashews, pecans, Brazil nuts, and pistachios, all delicately roasted and lightly seasoned with sea salt.
Or choose the Holiday Tin, Delicious Delights, a 7-way assortment of chocolate-covered nuts or other tasty items.
All profits from nut sales will go to the many Kiwanis community service projects, such as back-to-school supplies and college scholarships for high school students.
Get your Kiwanis nuts now at Jim's Pharmacy, Thurman's Supply, and on Friday, November 17, the Kiwanis members will be doing on-site sales at Swain's General Store. See you at Swain's Friday afternoon, November 17. And let's go nuts!
The Clallam Co-op in Sequim and KONP Radio want to give you a chance to see Blake Shelton live on his Back to the Honky Tonk Tour. Blake will be at the Tacoma Dome Friday, March 15th, and Clallam Co-op is the only place you can enter to win 2 tickets to see him. 2 lucky winners will each win 2 tickets to see Blake Shelton live. But remember, the Clallam Co-op in Sequim is the only place you can enter. Enter every day. Drawing will be held Friday, December 1st, so enter today. The Back to the Honky Tonk Tour is presented by Cabot Kubota.
Sail away to Victoria, BC on the Coho to see the magic of Christmas at the Butch Art Gardens. Stroll through the 12 days of Christmas displays with nearly 1 million twinkling lights from December 1st through the 31st. Overnight packages from $169 USD per person, based on double occupancy. Packages include ferry fare, a hotel stay in Victoria, and admission and shuttle to the Butch Art Gardens. What a great gift for a loved one or yourself. Learn more at cohoferry.com.
We're celebrating 40 years at Jim's Pharmacy on Black Friday. You can enter 4 raffle tickets per person to receive $400 off the displayed lift chair with 2 comfort zones. Spend $50 or more and receive a Jim's Pharmacy t-shirt and an entry to win a large gift basket filled with unique gifts. First 40 customers will receive a voucher for a free truffle. You'll see 40% off all gift items. We'll have a book signing by Lonnie Archibald for local books too. Thanks for 40 incredible years from your friends at Jim's Pharmacy.
Coming up on the bottom of the hour, we'll get a look at some news, weather, and some other messages coming up. And then it's Clallam County Sheriff Brian King. We'll talk about the new body-worn camera program for the Sheriff's Office, some of their legislative priorities in public safety, and a forecast of political activity that he sees on the horizon headed into the upcoming legislative session. We'll talk with him about all of that after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
Hello, this is Amanda Huff with Swim Valley and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapels. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a new, exciting, and environmentally friendly development in the funeral industry. It's called natural organic reduction, or simply terramation. Perhaps you've heard of it. Terramation is a process in which the body, after death, is returned to the earth in a carbon-neutral, eco-friendly manner. The process takes place in a controlled environment, and all that remains is a natural, odorless, compost-like material. If you'd like more information about terramation and advanced planning, call us today at Harper Ridgeview in Port Angeles or Swim Valley Chapel in Swim, and one of our knowledgeable and caring funeral professionals will assist you in answering your questions. Harper Ridgeview and Swim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
Would you like a beautiful new bathroom for the holidays? Hi, I'm Ursula Royteen for locally owned Bath Fitter. Bath Fitter just transformed my bathroom, and they can do the same for you in as little as 1 day. Get a new bathtub, safe walk-in shower, or tub-to-shower conversion now and pay 0 interest and make 0 payments until 2025. For nearly 40 years, Bath Fitter Northwest has done 40,000 local remodels. Hurry and book now and have a gorgeous new bathroom for the holidays. Go to bathfitternw.com.
Something astounding awaits you at McCrory Carpet One in Squim, Port Angeles, and Port Hadlock. All McCrory Carpet One showrooms have been remodeled, revamped, reorganized, and are even better and more luxurious than before. Bigger displays, more options, updated styles, colors, and trends. McCrory Carpet One is the #1 place on the peninsula for any and all of your flooring needs. Check out their beautiful new showrooms in Squim, Port Angeles, and Port Hadlock.
The 2024 KONP Home Show is back. We are now accepting vendor applications for the largest 2-day marketing event on the peninsula. Put your business in the middle of thousands of potential clients. Booths start at just $450. The KONP Home Show will be Saturday and Sunday, March 9th and 10th, 2024. Sign up now for best locations and to lock in the lower rates. Call 360-457-1450 and get your space for the 39th annual KONP Home Show.
The Washington State News Network, I'm Rob Francis. Mount Vernon police have a 15-year-old in custody on burglary and assault charges in connection with an attack against 3 men and a woman that left 1 teen dead over the weekend. Authorities say several teens went into a home armed with weapons and were looking for a specific person. That's when the altercation occurred. A 16-year-old man who was part of the invading group was severely injured and later died from his injuries. 4 people living in the home were treated at an area hospital for injuries and were released. Police say it was not a random random act of violence, and their investigation continues. A 58-year-old Marysville woman is in jail after shooting the elderly couple she lives with during a domestic dispute. It is believed that one of the people shot is the parent of the shooter. Marysville police arrived to find a 73-year-old man and an 83-year-old woman with gunshot wounds. The elderly woman underwent surgery for her injuries. The 58-year-old woman, along with the daughter of one of the victims, were arrested at the scene. And game time has been set for what could very well be the final Apple Cup between the University of Washington and Washington State. The Huskies leaving the Pac-12 next year to go to the Big Ten. The 115th Apple Cup will be at Husky Stadium November 25th, kickoff for 1 p.m. The Huskies are undefeated this season. The Cougars need a win Friday against Colorado and win the Apple Cup to be eligible for a bowl game. For more on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app or visit our website, WashingtonStateNews.net.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I taught for 20 years, until I started forgetting my lectures.
Eventually, he had to quit. Getting his early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard, but it gave us time to take control of the situation, together.
I can't imagine going through this without him.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. A mix of clouds and sun this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 48. Northwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Scattered rain showers likely tonight. Lows level off around 36. Cloudy skies expected. Scattered rain showers again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 48. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 48 degrees.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Going to talk with Clallam County Sheriff Brian King for the next few minutes here on the show. Brian, good to see you again. Nice to have you back.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tom.
Lots going on. One of the things that's been making the news, actually, with not just your agency, but actually all the local agencies here in Sequim and Port Angeles, as well as the Clallam County Sheriff's Office, and that is getting body-worn cameras in effect. Now I believe all three of these agencies are doing this. So let's talk about the Clallam County Sheriff's Office. And yours was somewhat unique because there was actually a little bit of a technical issue because of where your jurisdiction was in places that you couldn't necessarily easily uplink to, I guess might be a good way to put it. So tell us a bit about the process to get to where you're at now.
Yeah, so some of our challenge was, it was my directive and desire that we roll out countywide all at the same time. And so that was one of my goals. So each one of our deputies, regardless of where they were working, had the technology, and the technology was going to work for them. And so fortunately, we were able to roll deputy-wide the program last Monday. And so now every one of our deputies has a body-worn camera. They're excited about it. They wanted these cameras for a whole lot of reasons. The technological challenge component was specifically challenging for the West End.
Right.
And so what we had to research on the West End was, okay, what was going to be our solution to get the download speeds that we needed on the camera footage, because there's a lot of footage. And our solution for our West End was Starlink.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had Starlink installed at our Forks detachment. We've had a few challenges over the past week, like with any program. And adjusting those challenges, but most of it had to do with the firewalls that are set up with our internet. We don't want intrusion into our networks from folks that shouldn't be there and looking at our stuff. But we believe we've solved that yesterday, and so our download speeds are up, and we're capturing the evidence that we wanted to capture.
Explain to folks how this works, because this is really a in the cloud system. You've got the cameras on, but it's uploading data, after, I don't want to say it's instantaneous, but pretty much, if I understand this right.
Yeah, so what we have is part of our contract with Axon, who are the same providers as our tasers, is to have this cloud storage. And so there's the ability for our deputies to actually upload their video evidence from their MDTs in their car. That's their mobile data terminals that they get their calls dispatched to. But that goes over AirCard, which is not the most efficient technology there for the upload speed. So what we have in each one of the detachments are these docking bays where the deputies can bring into their cameras, plug them in, and we really wanted this to be a quick and easy process because they have a lot of work to do, and the last thing that we wanted them to do was have to wait for their cameras to download.
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned, your staff wanted these. A lot of people say, well, I don't know, why do police want these things? Tell us a bit from the law enforcement side why, there's most agencies are wanting to get to the point where they can do that. Then we'll talk about kind of the delays in getting it because it has to do with evidence and it has to do with public records and some other things like that. But
well, and particularly in this day and age, we get unfortunately we get a lot of complaints on our deputies. Some that are quite frivolous at times, but it takes a lot of agency times. There's a lot of anxiety that occurs with a deputy, especially with our professional standards that we employ. I mean, we certainly want to make sure that our people are behaving, but this is a quick and easy way to ensure that they're doing so. So that was one of the benefits, just to say, hey, we're going to take a real quick look at this. The other real great benefit is that it changes behavior of the people that you're interacting with. And so they know that this video is going to exist. There's going to be no question how people are behaving around you. And so by having that tool there's a lot of studies that show, that behavior change. So it makes the job a little bit easier.
Yeah, I was going to say, because some people, they put on their better behavior when they know they're on camera.
Yeah, absolutely. And another great benefit is, and we hope to really be able to measure this, but this is truly the collection of that evidence, being able to present this to a jury, to defense, to a defendant to say, hey, this is your behavior. This is how you're behaving at the time. This is the evidence that was captured on this body camera. And we hope to see, an increase in the dispositions of court cases kind of based on that evidence. It's good evidence all around. And plus, on the opposite side of these things, every deputy can have a bad day too, and it's a level of accountability for our people too to say, hey, there's supervisors out there that just like myself as the sheriff, I always say, I want everybody to treat others like you're talking to my wife. Yeah. I think that's really important that we go out there and we treat everybody with dignity and respect. Then we're not going to have any of these issues.
Go ahead. Let's talk about some of the implementation. It's not just as easy as, hey, let's give everybody a camera and go out and do this. It takes a long time. There's a lot of policy that went into this because there's a lot of things. I mean, you're talking about a lot of data. You actually have to have staff now that can, redact things that have to be redacted. This is public records. I mean, I can request some of this stuff now. So tell us a bit about some of that and how that played into this.
Yeah, all that and more. So really, this was a process to get up to where we were last Monday with the go live date. We started this project in January, and when I say we started the project, it was my desire as sheriff to my first and greatest priority was to get this program going. And thank you to the commissioners for supporting this from the onset. Like with everything, it's money, and this costs money. And we had been reluctant over time because it's not just the equipment, but it's the public records component to this. There's a lot of redaction that must occur. These are all public records, and how are we going to be able to keep up with that? Prior to deploying body-worn cameras, we at the Sheriff's Office process 70% of all public records requests that come into the county. We did that with one person, Kristen Nat, and she is amazing, and she was able to keep up, but we knew, and that's just with your normal public
that's
records.
Not video. That's not all of the stuff that's coming in gigabits, basically.
Absolutely, right? And so we knew that while half of the cost of this program, is the equipment. The other really half is the personnel needed. And so it was going out and finding the right person to do this. Kristen decided she wanted to take on this project. So she slid over into that chair. We backfilled her position with a new record specialist. And it took months of training to get her ready to go. It was one of the things that we did not want to do, was overburden her, overburden county staff, and not being in tune and trained and ready to accept this responsibility.
Right. Prosecutor's office, defense attorneys as well. I mean, this plays into it because for some of the same reasons, this is evidence. And in cases, you've got to, turn that over. There's probably a lot of asks that start happening.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of work that goes into Prosecutor Nichols' office and his staff, and the fact that he's going to be receiving body-worn camera footage from all the agencies in the county.
True. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's another component that he's actually at his office going to be managing all this new data. And, from a big picture looking in, public records requests can fall on the sheriff. They can fall on the prosecutor. They can fall. So really, when you roll out a program like this, you've got to know that it's going to affect Mark's office. It's going to affect the sheriff's office. It's going to affect public records in the county as a whole.
Generally. Just like
absolutely.
All right. Policy-wise, when are the cameras on? When are they off? In a nut, I know there's a lot of nuance to this, but just give us a bit of a overview of because there's a little. Some people are there's kids around, for example. Does the camera run then?
Yeah. So in the shortest, in the simplest sense, anytime one of our deputies expects to have a law enforcement interaction where they may be required to take action. And so that's where it kind of starts as we whittled down our procedure. We wanted to make it clear to our deputies that, hey, if you anticipate taking a law enforcement action, have your camera on. But then we began to look at all of the privacy issues and just public perception of when these cameras are on and off. And so we made it clear from the beginning as we begin to whittle down our policy that the camera's off when we enter a school. Unless we expect to take action. So any of those encounters that we anticipate it's going to be nothing more than positive, we're there to have lunch with the kids, whatever that's going to be, the cameras don't have to come on. Same thing that goes into any type of healthcare settings. Unless we know we're responding to an event where we believe we're going to take a law enforcement action, we enter healthcare facilities and our cameras are going to be off. One thing that's important for the public to know is that we will tell you and you will know when those cameras are on.
Yeah. And that's the first. And other law enforcement agencies have been doing that. I mean, State Patrol's been doing the body camera thing for a bit longer now too, and they will tell you when they pull you over. They'll say, "I'm recording this."
Yes.
So you will be doing the same.
And we will absolutely do that. So you will absolutely know when the camera's on, or we recognize that situations are tense and certain they can rapidly evolve, and so we tell our deputies too that if you're going from 0 to 60 because something really bad is happening and you're out and you're having to take law enforcement action, we just ask that you advise everybody at your earliest convenience upon which it's being recorded. So there's going to be those emergency situations, but we were fortunate to be really able to take a good deep dive and study all the nuances of other people's policies and the pitfalls of this, and position ourselves really well to have a successful program.
All right. Well, congrats. You've got it launched, as you said, last Monday, and
we're
off
excited.
you go.
So,
very good.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break. When I come back, we're going to talk about the legislative sessions coming up. Brian was just telling me about some interesting things that are going to be coming up as the legislature gets back in session in January, and kind of where law enforcement, specifically the Clallam County Sheriff's Office, is going to land on some of that when we come back. Stick around.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
Medicare open enrollment is here October 15 through December 7th, and if you're like most people on Medicare, you have questions. The statewide health insurance benefits advisors, known as SHEBA, can help inform you of your Medicare rights and options and see if you qualify for help with cost. SHEBA is a free, unbiased service provided by the Washington State Office of Insurance Commissioner. Get help today. Call SHEBA 1-800-562-6900 or visit insurance.wa.gov.
Septic Myths and Facts, Volume 3.
I use an additive to help my septic system work better.
Washington State doesn't recommend you use any additives in your system. There's no evidence that they improve the life of a septic, and some can even be harmful.
But how do I know if it's working or damaging my system?
By having regular inspections. A list of licensed inspection professionals is available at Clallam County Environmental Health's website at clallam.net/septic.
If you're an avid DIYer or builder, it's a necessity to have the right tool for the job. Makita and Milwaukee Power Tools have more than 200 right tools for the job, all running on their own battery platforms. That means a battery from your Makita or Milwaukee drill will also fit the battery to your same brand circular saw, leaf blower, grinder, or any of the other 196 tools they make. At Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel's, we stock the largest selection of Makita and Milwaukee power tools in the area, and we'll back it up by matching any non-promotional advertised price. These are not the power tools of 10 or even 5 years ago. The technology has grown to allow for greater power, longer battery life, and greater versatility. If you haven't handled a power tool in a while, we invite you to come on in and try one out for yourself. Make your next project that much easier with a Makita or Milwaukee power tool from Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel's. Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel Building Supply. Building homes, building community since 1906.
We're celebrating 40 years at Jim's Pharmacy on Black Friday, November 24th. Spend $50 or more in gift items from November 1st through November 22nd and enter to be one of 2 customers to have a timed shopping cart haul of 40% off all gift items collected in your cart on Saturday, November 25th, plus a free gift basket. Come hungry and enjoy delicious mini cupcakes from That Takes the Cake. Thank you to all of our customers for 40 incredible years from Jim's Pharmacy, located at 424 East 2nd Street.
Brian King is my guest. He's the sheriff here in Clallam County. We're going to switch gears just a bit. Legislature is going to get back together again come January. And with that, there's always legislative things that are looming. And Brian was going to share with us a little bit of what looks like might be coming, and they're keeping an eye on. So with that said, we're not done talking about police reform activities or any sentencing reform or any of that. Your feeling is that a lot of that discussion is coming back again come January.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I learned over the past really 3 years is I'm behind the game if I'm not ahead of the game. And so both as chief deputy, now as sheriff, if I'm not staying in tune to what's occurring in Olympia, then I can't effectively plan and strategize for what the future brings. And so right at the heels of last week's meeting with all the sheriffs and police chiefs in the state, and meeting and discussing what we can reasonably anticipate to come back into what is going to be a short session, 60-day session, since it's an even year. But, you know, the things of the past are going to come back forward, and one being, which we're going to watch closely and which we're really going to lobby hard, you know, certainly me as sheriff, is raising the age of culpability for juveniles from 12 to 14 years old. And, you know, I struggle with, you know, a society just not accepting accountability for conduct. And, you know, if you can get a driver's license at 16, and we know that our children know what is right and what is wrong. And I think, you know, that there continues to become this erosion. And I don't know why it is, but this is going to be a hot topic again for the legislature and I think there's going to be a floor vote on it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just important for us as a county and us as a state to say, like, we want safe neighborhoods, and we want accountability in our society, and And that just continues to be eroded little by little. And we're going to see action on the police pursuit front, at least from the sheriffs and police chiefs, because we feel that our hands are still tied when it comes to property crime and pursuits, stolen vehicles. Residential burglars are still out there and running from police in stolen cars. Yet we still don't have the ability to pursue.
You can't pursue a stolen vehicle at this point still, right?
Yep, we cannot pursue a stolen vehicle. And so those limitations are still very, very narrow, and when we can't pursue. And I unfortunately I read a study today that I just completely disagree with, or I think the findings were misguided, but it had to do with the effectiveness of policing, and that there's no evidence that if you can pursue or if you can do all these other things that you had, that it would affect the crime rate. Well, it's almost counterintuitive to the fact that what we do know, and I think our best measure is that when we instituted some of these aggressive police reforms, that our crime rate went up across the state. And I mean, that is a fact. Now, nobody wants to say, well, that's the causation for it. There's all these other societal influences that got us there. But I'm like, well, that's the best measure that we have. And that's the measure I think we have to stick to. And for me as sheriff, I just go back and I look at, okay, we provide good quality law enforcement. We have a quality of life that we want to preserve and that we really desire here on the peninsula, and that can't influence how we do policing, because we know we do policing here right, and it's not a matter of conduct by our deputies and our police officers, because we don't have some of those same problems that it influence some of this legislation. But at some point we got to give up on that conversation, make sure that we're focusing on, it's great. Throw every professional police standard out at us and tell us that we have to comply with it and that we're going to do it. Most of us are, but please don't take away tools and common sense from us because you think that's going to achieve safe communities.
Even though they've reformed, quote unquote, the pursuit issues since initially, I mean, you couldn't pursue basically anybody unless you literally saw them do a gross, a very hellacious felony, more or less. Well, how has it affected your department? I mean, for a rural area, for a sheriff's office, not being able to, chase down somebody who's stolen a car, is that does that affect you more than maybe like a city police officer even?
I wouldn't say as much. I mean, what we see is the influence, and this is I'll carry the influence of what I describe as lawlessness on the outside coming into our county. And so a lot of our stolen vehicles end up out of the county. We recover a lot of stolen vehicles that end up in our county from out of the county. What we do know, based on a lot of our what I would call our larger property crime and case investigations, that we're getting a lot of criminals coming into our county, committing crimes, leaving, coming back and forth. It's created even a more transient criminal network that exists throughout Western Washington. And so that's what bothers me the most. And, whether we have a pursuit or we have a stolen vehicle coming in or something going out, a lot of our commercial burglaries, our larger burglaries are committed by, we had some of our marijuana dispensaries a while back get hit. Those were all actors from out of the county. And it's just created this, you go steal a car, you run out, you commit a bunch of crimes, you dump that car, you go steal another one, and you keep going. And nobody can pursue in between that.
And they know that. I mean, the criminal element knows that.
They absolutely know that. And then you factor in, and this is just the practicality of the reform, is that then you take into effect the fact that the police can't talk to juveniles anymore. You have an affirmative right to an attorney. So a lot of adults, a lot of gangs, a lot of criminal enterprises are employing young adults, youth, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds to go out there and be the forward-facing, criminals in these actions, and then they profit from their behavior. And we don't ever get to the bottom of the network, because any attorney, and rightfully so, is going to say don't talk to the police, period. So we just get nowhere.
So suffice to say, Waspic and folks from law enforcement, is going to be an aggressive move and lobbying the legislature this year. Are you guys going to be going strong, I guess? Yeah,
we're going on the offensive, and we're taking a little bit of defensive. We know it's a short session. We can't get a lot accomplished. What we don't want to do is lose momentum, and I think that's one thing that we do have back is our communities are realizing that these police reforms had unintended consequences and big public safety consequences. And so because of that, we're slowly peeling back some of these reforms, and we're making progress, but it's just little baby steps. And it's not enough. We got to take bigger steps. Otherwise, it's just that effect. It's going to continue to haunt us for many years.
Brian King, Sheriff of Clallam County, always great to talk to you. We'll have some things I'm sure to talk about heading into the new year with some of this as it comes up. All right, we'll take a break, and news is coming up next right after this. The Clallam Co-op in Sequim and KONP Radio want to give you a chance to see Blake Shelton live on his Back to the Honky Tonk Tour. Blake will be at the Tacoma Dome Friday, March 15th, and Clallam Co-op is the only place you can enter to win 2 tickets to see him. 2 lucky winners will each win 2 tickets to see Blake Shelton live. But remember, the Clallam Co-op in Sequim is the only place you can enter. Enter every day. Drawing will be held Friday, December 1st. So enter today. The Back to the Honky Tonk Tour is presented by Kubota.
The North Peninsula's news. The North Peninsula's talk. Newsradio KONP, Port Angeles, Sequim. A Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Lindsay Davis, anchor of Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. An Israeli political source tells ABC News that high-level talks are making progress to release more hostages held in Gaza by Hamas. Thousands called for the release of the 240 hostages at a big rally for Israel in Washington, D.C. today. Among those in the crowd, Rachel Goldberg, whose 23-year-old son Hirsch was wounded and kidnapped October 7th.
We have to have hope, and we are running to the ends of the earth, turning over every single stone we can to try to get our son back.
Fighting around Gaza hospitals is intensifying. Israel claims Hamas has command and control centers in tunnels underneath the hospitals. National Security spokesperson John Kirby on that claim today.
I can confirm for you that we have information that Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad use some hospitals in the Gaza Strip, including Al-Shifa, and tunnels underneath them to conceal and to support their military operations and to hold hostages.
John Kirby speaking aboard Air Force One carrying President Biden to the APEC summit in San Francisco. He'll meet with China's president Wednesday. GOP Speaker Mike Johnson set to bring his resolution to the floor today to avert a government shutdown this Friday. It got feisty on Capitol Hill today.
Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett, one of 8 Republicans who voted to oust Kevin McCarthy, says the former speaker socked him from behind.
Yeah, he just elbowed me in the kidneys was all he did. It was deliberate.
You're an embarrassment. Across the Capitol, a Senate hearing devolved into chaos when Oklahoma Republican Mark Wayne Mullen challenged Teamsters Chief Sean O'Brien to a fight.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
That tough talk subsided after Chairman Bernie Sanders intervened.
You're a United States Senator.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Outside Columbus, Ohio, at least 3 people are dead and at least 18 people injured following a multiple vehicle crash involving a school bus. You're listening to ABC News.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. Not only is it open enrollment for a lot of people, it's also a time you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, switching to MediShare saves about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people. But what's more, they like it. MediShare has double the member satisfaction rate compared to health insurance. Double. MediShare is a proven thing, too. For over 30 years, it's a Christian community of more than 400,000 members. And here's the thing, too. If you join before November 15th, and you mention the promo code SHARE, you'll get another $150 savings. So I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline's November 15th. So call now and you'll save even more. Here's the number, 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
Relief.com.
I'm Lindsay Davis. For the latest on today's headlines, be sure to watch Prime tonight, starting at 7 Eastern on ABC News Live. Now with more news, here's Michelle Franzen.
The government's climate report showing every area of the U.S. is experiencing the negative effects of climate change, and more often.
Released by the White House, the 5th National Climate Assessment details staggering numbers on climate change. The U.S. suffering a billion-dollar disaster every 3 weeks on average, compared to every 4 months in the 1980s. That's wildfires to heat waves, monster hurricanes to destructive flooding. Air quality also diminishing as extreme heat makes pollution levels more severe. President Biden earmarking $6 billion in energy efficiencies and other incentives to fight it all.
We can't be complacent. Let me say that again. We can't be complacent.
Derek Dennis, ABC News.
New government figures showing that the rate of inflation continued to slow last month. The Consumer Price Index, a major gauge, shows prices were up 3.2% in October. That compared to a year ago.
We're moving in the right direction. Certainly there are areas of the economy where inflation is more strongly embedded. But the Fed wanted to make sure that it wasn't just a fluke and they were seeing just a couple of months of good data. This report is, again, building